everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video is a Dollar Tree Christmas decor video, my very first for 2019. If you haven't checked out the one from last year and 2017, I'll leave that playlist at the end of this video. But I'm so excited to share my first Christmas video for 2019, and I really hope that you enjoy it and stick around by subscribing to this channel, because once you hit that subscribe button, we instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yup!
And please hit that notification bell so you know every time I post a video. Let's go ahead and get started. For this tutorial, I'm going to use two of these beware signs from Dollar Tree. If you can't find these, it's okay. You can use the stir sticks from Lowe's, which are 98 cents, or you can use the other signs, which they had last year, which were Valentine signs. Those should be coming up really soon, since Dollar Tree loves putting all the holidays together. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to take a scraper and remove all of that glitter. Thank you to whoever it was that suggested this. I cannot find the comment because YouTube doesn't let you look for specific comments anymore. But this is definitely a game changer. So I did the little spatula first, which by the way is from Dollar Tree if anybody cares, and my little Dollar Tree sanding sponge afterwards, and removed the rest of the glitter. As you can see here, there's still a little bit of a texture on that, but just having all that glitter gone makes it a lot easier to paint. So I am using my vacuum just to make this a little less of a nightmare, and I'm doing this to both of my signs. And once everything is removed, I grabbed a damp towel and I wiped everything down just to get rid of any loose glitter that could be stuck behind. This is just going to make it easier to paint, even though this is going to be the back side. So I'm going to let that dry really well, and I'm going to take Dollar Tree's lightweight spackle. You can skip this step depending on what you're going to do, but I'm just going to cover up those little tiny holes that were on the sign, and I'm just going to press that in there really well and make sure that the other side is completely covered. Not that it's going to matter because, like I said, one side is the back side, but I really like covering the entire thing. So now I am going to actually attach both of these signs, and you can do this many ways. If you have stir sticks, then just use a few of those, or the jumbo popsicle sticks. I didn't have any. I just had the regular size. Now when I add these, I want to make sure that I skip that little scallop side so that they're not showing from the other side. I'm going to make sure that it is nice and aligned, and then with some hot glue, I'm going to attach the popsicle stick. Now, like I said, if you use jumbo popsicle sticks, this will go by a lot quicker, but this is what I had on hand. Now, it does drive me a little crazy that I didn't keep these popsicle sticks straight, so if you are doing this at home and you want your popsicle sticks straight, don't be like me. So I'm going to work my way all the way up, but you don't have to. You can just do the middle and the top. I did the whole thing. And again, because I was super messy with this, I used my sanding sponge to try and remove all of that glue that I had seeping out. I also used a bit of my spatula. Not much came off, but enough to make me feel better, and then I wiped it down so that there's no debris. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm actually going to paint the other side first because I want it to look as weathered as possible. I'm using the shade called Vintage White. I get this at Walmart, and it's probably $1 or 50 cents, I'm not sure. And with my Dollar Tree foam brush, I am just going to do an awful job on purpose because I want this to look like weathered wood, and since the back is already brown, I just figured just dragging the paint down would create a really weathered look. And I think that in the end it looks awesome. But if the back of your sign isn't this color, you can always grab some brown paint and create the same streaks. It's up to you and what you have. Maybe you're using something else at home. So now I'm going to flip this over and paint the back as well. You can skip it, but I like to paint the back just in case this happens to be in an area where you can see that. Once the paint is completely dry, I'm going to flip it back over and I'm going to work on my planks. To make this look like actual wood, since it already has the wood shape, I figured I'd grab my long ruler and I'd line the top and the bottom up, and with a thin Sharpie, you can of course use a thick one as well, I'm just going to start to create lines. Since the two planks that are attached already look like two pieces of wood, I'm obviously going to skip that, but just make sure the top and bottom are aligned so it doesn't look all crooked. If it's not perfect, that's fine because this is supposed to be a weathered look. Just take your time with this. Make some lines a little thicker, some lines a little thinner. You can actually do another color, it doesn't have to be black. And this really, really helps with your font work as well. If you're not using stickers or decals, you can always use this as a guide, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the Dollar Tree stickers. I'm not going to use my Cricut this time. You can also use the stencils from Dollar Tree or your Cricut or Silhouette if you have one. And on that middle plank, I'm just going to line up the stickers right here to kind of use them as a guide. And then with another pack, I'm just going to spell out welcome. I didn't press them in until I liked the placement. I left a gap up top because I wanted to decorate it with some greenery later on. So now I am using the Lowe's 98-cent stir sticks. Now you can either use 3 or 4. 3 if you're not doubling, 4 if you are, and you'll see what I mean. For the next step, I'm going to use some wood glue. Dollar Tree also has a wood glue now. Now these things have a plain side and a side with a ruler. Now I'm going to make sure that the ruler side are both facing each other for this step. The ruler does come in really, really handy. So I'm adding a generous amount of glue to one piece and then adding the other piece to the top of that. Now when you're doing this, make sure that it is nice and aligned. The bottom doesn't matter too much, it's more of the side and the top. So do this to 8 pieces. So you're going to end up with 4 pieces in total. Now, like I said, you don't have to double this. You can leave it as is and just use 4 pieces rather than 8. And you don't have to Gorilla Glue anything to each other. But I really liked that this made it a little sturdier and made the side pop out a little bit more. But like I said, total preference. If you want to save yourself $1, you can totally just use a single stir stick. And I'm sorry if I sound repetitive, I just want to make sure that everybody understands what I'm doing here. So here are 4 double pieces, but you can always just use 4 single pieces. The only paint I found at Dollar Tree was this Crayola Kids washable paint, but sometimes they do have acrylic paint. This acrylic paint I bought at Walmart, and depending on where you buy it, it can be anywhere from 50 cents to $1. You can do whatever shade of red you want. You can even stain this. I usually stain stuff, but I was a little over it this time, and I thought red would really make this pop. So I'm going to go ahead and paint those pieces. Now I'm painting all sides of this, so there's not an area that's not going to be covered. And like I said, use whatever color you want depending on the decor that you like. Just make sure that everything is nice and covered because you are going to be able to see all of the sides of these. So once these are nice and dry, I'm going to create some pieces across. So I decided to make this 16 pieces because I'm adding 2 pieces to each side of the length. So I cut down 4 pieces to make my life easier. I just tape them up together and then cut them up. I do have a saw, but you can do this with a handsaw if you want. And I painted that red as well. So now I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to add my pieces. So to make this sort of even, I kind of tried to figure out where I would want to add each piece. And I decided that it would be at the 11.5 mark. So I made my mark on each side so that they're both nice and even, and I just used my regular Sharpie for this. And then to attach this, I used a combination of E6000 and hot glue. I took each plank and added E6000 first, making sure I left some space to add my hot glue, and wherever there was an E6000 is where the hot glue went. I lined it up nicely, and then I added more E6000 to the other piece and to the side and did the exact same thing. Now this is why I said you can use 1 single stir stick instead of 2, but I really like that it's 2 so that it stays nice and straight and it looks a lot thicker. But like I said, if you want to save that $1, you can always just use the 1 stir stick up top, 1 stir stick at the bottom. So I did this to both sides, and you can always add a stir stick going this way or one across for some extra security. It is up to you. And now I'm going to flip this over and I am going to add the 4 smaller pieces that I cut down. So in order to get this somewhat even, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that stir stick that I used as a measurement, and I am just going to use that to have a nice gap in between, and then I'm going to add that using my hot glue. So like I said, you can use a single one. You don't have to use two. I just like how it looked when it was a little thicker. It looked a little bit more authentic to me. And then I did the bottom as well. So I added 2 pieces to the bottom as well. But if you want, you can just add 1 piece or none, up to you. So here I am doing my happy dance because I think it looks pretty awesome, and now I'm going to add some details. So with some Dollar Tree rope, I'm just going to cut it down and make 2 knots. Then I'm going to take my scissors and remove the extra that I have left over, and with some hot glue I'm just going to secure it to the top. This part is optional. Everything else that I'm doing is optional. This whole thing is optional. You can do whatever you want. And I'm going to take this Dollar Tree ornament and add a little tiny bit of hot glue. I really love the Dollar Tree picks, so I'm using some pliers, side cutters, whatever you have, and I'm just cutting down the stem and figuring out the placement first before hot gluing. I added some branches, which are also from Dollar Tree, and then I hot glued it in place. The bottom I was gonna leave plain, and then I decided that I had some picks left over, so I added some picks to the bottom, and when I was done, I had this super cute sleigh, I don't know what it is, but I turned a Halloween item into a beautiful Christmas decor. And I really hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. And as usual, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I will hopefully see you on the next one.